Welcome to Strider Trees. I'm here at the Academy Trained Ranch with Jared at Virginia, and we're going over some more about canopy anchors. But in this particular instance, we're talking about the anchorage we use on a spar, especially when there aren't ladder branches the whole way up. So we're going to show you a whole bunch of different ways to keep yourself safe with choking anchors on a spar, whether you're using single line technique or a moving rope system. So starting off with the moving rope system, it's easy to get complacent and feel like you can just go up a spar with nothing but your flip line. But if you gaff out, or if you come across bees or some other hazard in the tree, you need to be able to get out of the tree in a hurry. And it's advantageous to be able to have a system that will choke on the tree if you were to gaff out. If I were to gaff out while I just got the lanyard, I'm gonna slip, I'm gonna tear up my arms and legs, the inside, it's miserable at best. If at worst, you go to ground and hard and fast. It's also an ANSI requirement to climb whenever you don't have limbs underneath your branches, or underneath your line to support you, you're required to have a choking anchor. So this video is brought to you by Edelrid. They're a German company that distributes here in North America, and I wanted to show you guys a couple of pieces of gear that I've been using for years that is the best in class. It's some of my favorite stuff, and so I want to share with you. Here we've got the T-Rex saddle. This is my everyday climbing saddle. It's really lightweight, fully featured. It's got a spot for the transporter there. The gear loops are awesome. It's more breathable than anything else I've ever used and totally customizable. It's absolutely fantastic. They've also got these carabiners, which are among my favorite. They're triple lockers, and they've got this stainless steel insert. So it's a lightweight aluminum carabiner with the stainless steel insert for long-lasting durability. They make this awesome one that is a little more eco-friendly because it doesn't have to go through the treatment process. And it even has this little catch right here to keep your eye from sliding around, keep it oriented properly. And last but certainly not least are the Talon tree climbers. Obviously these are climbing gaffs, spikes, and they're the most comfortable ones on the market. They've got this big, breathable, thick cuff that is nice and ergonomically shaped for maximum comfort. Very adjustable, will fit any boot you put in it, and all of the Velcro and all the straps can be replaced separately. So it's a great piece of kit. They make fantastic gear. If you want to support me, support the channel, check them out in the link in the description. Now back to the action. Now, this sort of adjustable friction saver, this is a big one. You can make them yourself using a rope and a couple of rings and a hitch cord. You don't have to get the big fancy thing. If you're trying to be safe, there's ways to do it. Now, if you just don't happen to have this, there's even yet another way to maintain a choked spar for your moving rope system. And for those of you who climb single line, you'll recognize this as well. You can actually just choke your whole rope around it. In this case, I'm going to tie a running bowline. And probably should back that up with a hard link here. Bowlines have a way of coming loose. But at least in this instance now, again, if I were to fall, my canopy or my anchor here is going to lock up. Now the problem is you can't come down single line on a hitch cord, so this doesn't actually serve as a quick and safe way to get out of the tree if you were to come across a hazard like bees or ants or heck, a little bit of leftover lightning fire, whatever it happens to be that you didn't notice from the ground. So there's a couple things we can do to make this serviceable in an emergency. As it is, this is still better than using the flip line because, again, if I fall, that's going to choke and hold me in place. Now, I can integrate a carabiner either below or above my hitch cord here. In this instance, try to get that munter facing the right way. In this instance, I've got, well, munter hitches are awesome. Now the idea with a munter hitch is you want your tailing line not to be running over the gate. So you got to pay attention to that. But so this here, I'm going to link it to one of my attachment points that I rated. And now with a little bit of extra attention here, I'm going to add a lot of friction and I'll be able to belay all the way to the ground on this setup just like it is. And all that took extra was a carabiner. Now if I'm going up the spar here, right? Obviously this is a little extra work. You have to advance this with you. But again, what's a little bit of work to spare you a lot of safety? Alternatively, and perhaps a little bit more ergonomically, you can use a hitch cord. This is, again, Very versatile, lightweight, durable hitch cord that Eaglerid makes. It's got aramid in the core, so it's really strong. Basically, I'm just going to put my munter hitch above my hitch cord. And now I've got a little bit more slack in the system, so it doesn't serve me quite as nicely for stability's sake, but it does still serve to preserve my life. Now, as I were to come down, to get farther away here, you can see that that munter hitch will align itself, and it'll serve to add a whole bunch of friction to the system. And now it's like I'm on a double line, and I'll be able to belay to the ground. So obviously, you need to have enough leftover line in your climb system, whether you're set up in a moving rope system and that's your intended bailout, or if you're choking it off like this, you need to be able to get to the ground in a hurry no matter what. It really comes into play when it comes to injury as well, so not just coming across hazards. If I cut myself in such a way that I'm going to be potentially bleeding out in short time, no one is going to get to me faster than I can get to the ground. So very often it's worth you take that little extra time to set it up and get yourself out quickly in the event of an emergency. So I showed you a couple of options how to use an MRS choking anchor, and I'm going to show you just a few with a single line, but I want to also demonstrate how different climb systems can make for very different positioning circumstances. In this case, what I've got here is a friction hitch cord, a relatively long tether, and the rope wrench. Now when you're climbing single line, that distance, this distance here, largely determines just how comfortable you're going to be when making a cut on the spar. It's difficult to work on the spar this far away, and so I'm going to have to rely on my lanyard up close in order to get into good position, which is one of the disadvantages of this type of single line climb system. So I'm going to switch this up a little bit as I'm demonstrating some of these other anchors. What I've got here is a bowline on a bite with a Yosemite backup. Super simple, no extra gear. All you got to know is the knot. It works beautifully. It's one good way to do it. The big downside is that your rope is going to be exposed to anything and everything that's on the spar. If this is a pitchy tree, you're going to have a pitchy end of your rope, and because that's the part that's most utilized, that can be a bummer. But it's cheap, it's fast, it works. If you have an akimbo, that's one of my favorites, because using the akimbo brings you up really close. I'm actually going to put on right here this device by Eaglerid. It's called the Megawatt. It's going to be out here real soon. I like the fact that I can put it on without having to, I don't have to take it off my rope, so I can leave it attached to my harness here, put it on the rope, click it shut, and now, again, I'm much closer, my distance is much shorter. Another thing I can do to shorten that distance is I can adjust the bridge on my harness here, and this is kind of a clever way they do it on the Eaglerid saddle. It's sort of a semi-permanent adjustment. All right, now my saddle is tighter, and now I can actually work on this spar relatively comfortably without having to count on just my lanyard. So just wanted to demonstrate that. I'm going to show you a couple other little anchors real quick as well. So if I have an extra ring, and a lot of times I'll carry them for this purpose, you can do what is called a jam. You can use your carabiner in a jamming configuration with this ring. Now again, very similar type of anchor. What I love about this one in particular is that it's very, very tight. So again, it helps me to get really close and comfortable in my positioning on the spar. It also will come undone very easily, and for whatever reason, it tends to cinch up tight and be very usable. It's not hard to untie, it's quick, it's clean, it works nicely. So there's another little choking anchor you can use. So the last little choked anchor I want to show you guys for single rope technique is this one that involves the pinto. The beauty of it is that I can take my tail, I can push it through this carabiner when I know I'm getting ready to come out of the tree. And after I bail to the ground, say I've got it choked around a big spar and there's sap and it's sticky and there's all kinds of friction, when I disconnect from this, I'll be able to pull this and retrieve it no matter what, because this pulley just makes such a buttery smooth frictionless contact point. So it's got kind of a cool advantage there. It may be mostly useful around big ponderosas, big gray pines, things that end up really pitchy and messy, and make sure you can get your rope out without fighting it too hard. So hopefully you found that useful. Be sure to always climb with that choke backup anchor. It's worth it. It's so much safer. It'll keep you guys out of a pickle. So Best of luck to you. Climb safe. I'll catch you next time.